They had the world, but they lost it all. In 2017, 3 names took over hip-hop. Tekashi 6ix9ine, Lil Pump, and Blueface. They were loud, wild, completely unstoppable. Their faces were memes. They made their faces memes. Their music, it was chaotic, but their success, unrivaled. Millions of fans, tens of millions of dollars in deals. They made every headline, especially in the influencer community. They were on every stage the world over, but now, silence. Now we all know it. I was there for the rise of these 3 gentlemen. In fact, Tekashi, Lil Pump, and Blueface, they paid for my pool, half my house, and the car I was driving, for real. But like all good things, well, getting your face tattooed and putting out, semi-quality music, well, it can only get you so far. No shade to these guys. I'm no longer as famous as I once was, but I do think it's interesting to take a look back and see what happened to these gentlemen and how their careers went in 3 different directions. Tekashi 6ix9ine, he was engineered for internet fame. Rainbow-colored hair, face tattoos, screaming in every track. Although the one he did with Murder Beats and Nicki Minaj, that was pretty good. The rest, throw them out. Sorry, bro. He dropped GUMMO, and the internet, it couldn't look away. This guy literally knew how to print views. Everything he did, it was a viral moment. Everyone was watching, including those who you don't want watching, the feds. But with all that attention, all that virality, well, those who were watching seemed to actually hate it. By 2018, well, again, Tekashi was everywhere. There was Fifi with Nicki Minaj. That one I mentioned, it got over 1 billion views alone. That's my entire career in one song. Now he had a deal rumored to be worth around $10 million, and he had a gang affiliation with 9 Trey Bloods. But it turns out as we learn more, well, his 9 Trey Blood gang, it wasn't just an aesthetic, it was a very real criminal organization. And them hooking up with his baby mama, well, that was enough for the whole facade to collapse. In November of 2019, 6ix9ine was arrested. He was facing federal RICO charges and life in prison. That's when the kid decided to do the unthinkable in the hip-hop world. He decided to rant. That's right. He flipped, took the stand, and testified against his crew. And it earned him a new title. Even my 18-year-old nephew was going with, calling him Snitch 9. And the memes, of course, they exploded. His credibility, well, brought down to 0. And when he got out in 2020, he did do a comeback. He posted to Instagram in a video that broke the algorithm, but still, the damage had been done. In hip-hop, I think they'd seen enough of him. He did have GUMMO. That one broke YouTube with a 24-hour record. We're talking 45 million views. But then he put out his next album, and it kind of flopped. The energy died out. Fans, it appeared, they had moved on. From there, he decided to pivot to Latin music. He kept performing overseas, but here in the United States, well, things were just not looking so good. Even when he went to a local gym, a bunch of dudes broke in just to kind of show him what they thought of him, and it wasn't pretty. Tekashi currently, well, he's a ghost of his former self. Chapter 2, Lil Pump, when mean rap stopped working. Now, if SoundCloud had a poster boy, it'd probably be Lil Pump, R.I.P. XXX. Now, Gucci Gang, it wasn't just a song, it became a lifestyle. Seriously. This thing charted top 3 on Billboard. It got parodied on SNL. It was memed. It was quoted by celebrities. Literally, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang was untouchable. Now, Lil Pump signed an $8 million deal with Warner. He dropped I Love It with Kanye, dressed as a Roblox character, something I went as for Halloween. He posted videos where he flexed Lambos, jewelry, and stacks of cash. Of course, he tattooed his face wherever he could, but unfortunately, with the success, with him having put out a song that actually penetrated pop culture, the fame, the momentum, none of it seemed to last. His album, Harvard Dropout, pun intended, the kid clearly didn't go to Harvard. Well, that album, it kind of flopped. Then there was Lil Pump 2, and sadly, that one didn't even chart at all. Then we went from Coachella to opening up for half-full clubs, and behind the scenes, well, things, they only got worse. There was a $1.6 million tax lien. There were some bizarre interviews, and at one point, well, he claimed he was gonna retire from music so he could become an astronaut. Now today, he still posts thirst traps and fake flexes, but the memes have kind of died. And I did see a recent post where he's celebrating sobriety. He's now entered into some kind of system where he's laying off the lean, or he's laying off whatever the hell that had him speaking like, I just gotta, whatever the hell it is. But the tattoos are still there. Will Lil Pump make a second impression on the world and have a bigger comeback? I sure hope so. I mean, the kid's young, he had the talent to do it once, and I'm always a man that can say, if you've done something once, you can do it again. So let's hope it happens. Let's move on to chapter 3. We're talking about Blueface. Blueface, chaos that caught up. Now, Blueface's flow, it was so offbeat, people thought it was a joke. I remember we did this before they were famous, and the host of that video, Jeremy, I'm like, yo, what's the deal? Like, what's going on? He's like, it's unexplainable. He's either doing it to be popular or he just sucks that bad. And we all laughed. Here you have a white guy from Canada laughing at you. But hey, Thotiana, it went platinum. And Blueface, once upon a time an aspiring football player, well, he was a global superstar. But then, not so long after, Blueface, he wasn't a meme. He was a star. I'm serious. He signed to Cash Money West. He was doing remixes with Cardi B. He was touring, flashing cash, turning his house into a chaotic influencer reality show. But some of the stuff you'd see on that show was a little Jerry Springer-esque. And some of the girls he was running around with, ugh, I wouldn't be introducing them to my mother. Now, fame doesn't always protect you from consequences. And in 2022, well, Blueface was arrested for a shooting out in Las Vegas. Now the charges? Well, they're attempted murder, which was later reduced. But in 2024, probation violations from an older assault, they caught up with him, and he was sentenced to 4 years in prison. Now, the chaos, it didn't stop there. There was the drama with Krishan Rock, there was fights, there were viral clips. You could tell money was getting tight because his behavior was becoming more and more outlandish. But none of it was about music anymore, right? And I think that's where he really missed out. Today, Blueface, he's serving time at North Kern State Prison, and his rap career, I don't know. It could be over. Chapter 4. So now looking at these 3 cases, what was the problem? Well, these characters, they weren't built to last. Now, all 3 rappers, they had the internet eating out of their hands. They dominated the chaotic algorithm. They were flashy, loud, controversial. Everything they did was viral. But none of them could survive past the wave. Now, they didn't really grow musically. They didn't build real fan bases. Everyone knew them. People were embarrassed to say they effed with them, right? They relied on spectacle, and spectacle, it always fades. Now, Tekashi, he went from Billboard to Snitch jokes. Lil Pump, he became a TikTok relic. And Blueface is in prison, and well, no one's checking out his new music. They didn't just fall off, they crashed and burned. So they were the voices of 2017, 2018, arguably 2019, but it was an era of chaos. The meme rap explosion. And for a moment, well, these guys really had the world in their palms. But one's in prison, one lost his fortune, and one's clinging to foreign fame. Now, we've covered their rise, we warned them about their fall, and now we're watching what happens after the curtains close. Maybe that's the real life lesson here. Hype doesn't last. And face tattoos are just never a good idea. Am I being hard on these boys? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Honestly, with all of these videos, I try and add some sympathy. I don't go home and sleep better talking shit about people. But these are fascinating stories that are ingrained into the identity of this YouTube channel. And these are the stories people come back to me to hear about. They want to know what's happened to some of the stars from the past. My heart goes out to each and every one of them. I hope they're doing okay, and I hope they can turn things around. If you want to support me and the channel, you can check out beforetheywerefamous.com. We're selling some merch over there. You can subscribe. We have new videos dropping each and every week. And I'll see you guys in another video.